In the interest of Giselle, no. We're here for an initial permanency hearing on that case, and then cause number 99353D, excuse me, in the interest of Abel, no, and Gabriella, no, and we're here on a review hearing in that case. We'll take up an issue about the setting on a final here after we conclude our review hearing. But we are going to review in both cases today, and we are, of course, conducting this through Zoom. We're live streaming, and Ms. Taylor is making our record this morning.
So we'll start with Giselle first. We reunified Giselle with Guadalupe on December 22nd. Giselle is doing well in his care. They are bonded. I go and visit him weekly, and she's happy. She's healthy. Every time I see them together, you can tell that they've really bonded in this short period of time. He does have the help of his niece and his mom, which we've approved for backup caregivers. And him and Twee are in close contact, and they're co-parenting well, is what is reported to me. Lupe does ensure that there are sibling visits and make sure that Lucas and Giselle are a part of visits with Twee and the older two children. Would you like me to go on for Gabby and Abel?
Sure.
Okay. Gabriella and Abel, they're doing great in their current placement. Miss No has completed all services that St. Francis has asked her to complete. She's been giving me clean drug screens. She started working at the downtown women's thrift store this month. We did get a letter of release for the therapeutic visits from the therapist, and I e-filed that. And we have started in-person visits with Gabriella and Abel. And this week we were going to increase those visits to 4 hours, but weather permitting, we've not been able to do that yet. And I don't have any updates on Jesus. I've not been able to locate him. So I've had no contact with Mr. Esquivel.
Okay. All right, then. Ms. Powell, you have any questions for Ms. Tidwell?
I do not, Judge.
Okay. All right, then, Mr. Nowak.
I don't think so. Angela, it sounds like services are going well or have been completed, correct?
Yes, sir.
Visits are going well?
Yes, sir.
Mom's co-parenting with the parent that we've located?
Yes, sir.
Thanks for all your updates and thanks for taking my phone calls. Judge, I'll pass the witness.
All right. Ms. Riley.
Sorry, nothing other than have you been able to see Giselle interacting with her brother as well?
Yes. He was jealous. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
He was jealous at first, but they are starting to bond. They're really cute together.
Okay, great. And that was really just my follow-up, is how they're doing since he's there. So that's great. And I don't have any other questions.
All right, then, Ms. Lucero, anything?
Nothing, Your Honor. I have not had any contact with Mr. Escobar, but I don't have any questions for Ms. Tidwell.
Okay. All right, then, Ms. Zavala.
Ms. Tidwell, in terms of the visits, for scheduling for that, we're going to keep the individual therapy for the older kids. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. I'm not going to mess with their services, and I'm going to work around her schedule. I have foster mom schedule and the kid schedule.
Okay. And I know that the visits moved to in-person and no longer therapeutic, but would it be helpful to have some family counseling between the older children and Twee?
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can the person who is doing the therapeutic visits do that, or do we need to find another provider for that?
I can reach out to her to see if she could do those therapy sessions for us. And if not, then I can find a provider that will do those therapy sessions.
Okay. And previously, the older children have expressed a little bit of concern about Guadalupe
Yes, ma'am, that is correct.
because previously they all lived together and were around each other back when the parents were still using.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. If Lupe were to agree, would it be possible to include him in that family therapy since there's going to be contact and co-parenting kind of going on for the younger two?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Because especially I guess this is Gabby's fourth involvement with CPS. This is Abel's third. While we're increasing the contact, we're still moving really slowly to develop that trust back between Twee and her older children.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And would you agree that both older children are doing very well in their current placement?
Yes, ma'am.
And they're bonded to that placement?
Yes, ma'am.
But visits are going well with Twee.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I pass the witness.
Okay, thank you. All right, anybody else have any questions for Ms. Tidwell? Okay. All right, Mr. Nowak, anything else to present today?
Nothing today, Judge. Thank you so much.
All right, Ms. Riley?
No, Your Honor. Sorry, no, Your Honor, I do not have anything to present today.
Okay. Ms. Lucero?
I have nothing to present to the court today, Your Honor.
All right, and Ms. Zavala, recommendation today?
Yes, Your Honor. I was able to meet with Giselle in Guadalupe's home. She seemed to be doing really well. They seem bonded. She got upset for a second. He was very good at being able to comfort her. And I feel like that's been going very well. I was able to speak with Mr. De Leon about the concerns for the older children. He indicated to me that he's quite willing to participate in those kind of sessions, which I think would be really helpful. I do think that although he is not their biological father, if he's going to be co-parenting with Twee, with the younger ones, they're going to have that contact. And I really appreciate his willingness to do that. The kids are doing really good. I am very glad that those visits are going well with Twee. I'm glad that she is doing well. There's still a lot of history, a lot of history, and these kids have been in care more than they have not been in care. So we got to keep building that relationship and trying to repair the hurt and the damage that's been done, but it looks like there's some good progress going on. So I would just recommend that we continue to move very slowly, very carefully, get that therapy in place, and see where we go. I think it's really important that we have a long period of sobriety before we think of moving too far forward.
All right, I appreciate it. So now this brings us to the question about whether we want to track these cases together or whether we leave them on separate tracks. So as it stands right now, of course, the no case.
Before we even step into this Zoom courtroom, understand this. This case isn't about one child. It's about patterns, history, and whether progress is enough when the past still casts a long shadow. Today's hearing involves multiple children, multiple parents, and multiple CPS cases, all moving on different timelines, but tied together by the same core question: when is it safe to go home? You're about to hear praise for clean drug screens, completed services, and improving visits, but you'll also hear words like continuing danger, history with CPS, and slowly, carefully. And those phrases matter more than applause ever could. Watch closely as the judge balances emotional progress against legal standards. Pay attention to who's present and who's missing, and listen carefully when the court explains why doing everything right still doesn't guarantee reunification. Because by the end of this hearing, you'll understand exactly how the child welfare system measures success and why patience, not promises, decides these cases.
We've got our final set for April 7th of 2026, and dismissal date on that is April 10th. That case has been extended. I know Rachel sent an email out to everybody about this, so this doesn't come as any big surprise to anybody, but our other case, obviously, you know, we've still got more time on, and the dismissal date on that is not until August 10th. So, you know, I don't know whether you all have a feel for whether we'll be ready to try to wrap something up in April on both cases. I know that some have responded to that there's no objection in setting both for a final on the April 7th date. So let's just discuss that and see where everybody stands.
Judge, can I have a brief conference with all lawyers before
Sure.
we make that decision?
Yeah, sure. You're the one on the tight schedule this morning, so you.
Okay, so I'll be super quick.
Yeah. Okay, Ms. Powell, if you want to go back to one, I will put all the lawyers in there with you.
Okay. Based upon our discussion, we could possibly have an agreement in regards to Giselle.
Okay, my apologies, Ms. Powell. I was on the phone, so I got just part of that. Okay, just go ahead and if you don't mind, just to repeat what you think you've agreed to. I'm not. I want to be clear.
We don't have any objection to moving that final hearing up, Judge. To track the other one, if necessary, it can always be moved. But I think there's a possibility we may even have an agreement in regards to Giselle.
Okay. All right, then. Well, yeah, certainly if we have a hiccup of some kind or we're just not ready, we can always, you know, back it up. But it, you know, we just typically try to keep these sibling cases on track together if we can. Okay, let me just ask Mr. Novak, Ms. Riley, Ms. Lucero, everybody else good with that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Vala, I left you out, my apologies. Okay.
Yes, I'm good with that.
And yes, we're good.
All right.
We lost Miss Lucero.
Oh, you know what? I gotta move her. She's on the phone. Hang on. Whoop, whoop.
Although she's not part of that case.
Yeah, but we still need her back in. Ms. Lucero, are you back in with us now?
I'm back in. I appreciate that, Your Honor.
I'm so sorry. I forgot to move you back into the general session. I
You're
apologize.
fine. You're fine. Thank you.
All they were telling me is that everybody's fine with putting the cases on the same track, but which doesn't, you know, really affect you that much. But anyway, that's all that was talked about.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you, Your Honor. Yes, that's correct.
Okay. All right then. Okay, anybody have anything further on this?
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
Okay, then. I'm going to continue the department. as temporary managing conservator of all children. Will continue placements for all children. I find parents, Ms. No and Mr. De Leon are in compliance with their service plans. Obviously, Mr. Esquivel is not, since we've not been able to locate or have any participation with him.
This is an important moment because on paper things sound good. Giselle has been reunified, she's healthy, bonded, and supported by extended family. Co-parenting is reportedly happening, sibling visits are being maintained, and from a child welfare standpoint, these are all green flags. But here's the nuance viewers should understand. Reunification doesn't mean the case is over. It means the court believes the current conditions are safe, not that the risk has disappeared. Notice how carefully the testimony is worded. In this short period of time, approved backup caregivers, reported to me. These are cautious phrases. The system doesn't move on trust alone. It moves on verifiable stability. And while Giselle's situation shows progress, the court is already setting the stage for how this family must continue to function under supervision. So the question for you is, if this progress holds, how long should oversight continue?
All right. With respect to the older children, I'm going to make a finding that there would be a continuing danger to return them home to the mother at this time. There's no, that's, it's a legal thing. Doesn't mean that you're not doing a good job, because you are. It just says that, I've got the basis and reasons to not send them home yet. Okay. So, we want to just continue to work with you. We want you to continue to work on your program and sobriety and, everything that you're doing right now. But we just have got to see that happen for a while. So, please don't take that as I'm, trying to jerk a rug out from under you, because that's not the intent at all. And we have a very special visitor with us, I see.
My little boy. He just woke up. Say hi. Say hi. Say hi.
Say hi.
Hi.
Okay, then. What we'll do then is we will set both cases for final hearing on April 7th of 2026, and that'll be on our 9 o'clock docket. I don't know whether it'll be at 9 or it'll be towards the end of the docket. If you all have something worked out in advance of that day, obviously, if you'll, let us all know, that may affect where we set you on the docket. So, if you all need formal mediation, we can always do that. So I'm just looking to you. I'm looking to the lawyers for guidance on that issue.
Here's where the emotional tension really sets in. Mom has completed services, drug screens are clean, employment has started, visits are increasing. On the surface, this looks like a textbook turnaround, but then the court drops a critical detail. This is not the first CPS case, not even the second. Gabriella's fourth involvement, Abel's third. And in child welfare court, history matters as much as progress. That's why you hear the judge and attorneys emphasizing slow movement, therapy, and trust rebuilding. The court isn't questioning effort, it's questioning durability. Can this stability last without supervision? Can trust be rebuilt after years of disruption? So let me ask you, if someone finally does everything right, but only after multiple chances, should the system move faster or stay cautious to protect the kids?
y'all want to try just talking first?
I think we've done a good job of communicating with one another. If it gets to the point where we need mediation, I think we'll ask it from the court.
Okay, just let Miss Katie know and we will get somebody appointed if that's what y'all think you need. So, all right, then I sure appreciate everybody. Thank you again for the early hour and for helping Miss Powell out with this. So, unless you're stuck with me for the next case, then y'all are free to go.
Thank you
Judge.
so much, Judge. And Twee, I'm fixing to call you like right now. Thank you, Judge. And
Okay,
thanks to
appreciate
everyone
it.
else.
Bye-bye.
In the interest of Michaela Ellery, we're here today for a review hearing. We're conducting this through Zoom. We're live streaming and Ms. Taylor is making our record. Okay, we'll go ahead and take announcements.
Melinda Powell for the Department, the St. Francis Permanency Specialist today is Sylvia Garcia, and I did receive a signature from Ms. Kramer.
Stacy Zavala on behalf of Michaela.
Janelle Gary with Carson. I'm sorry, Carla is my advocate on this case.
Okay, so even though the Ellerys have signed the agreed order or signed off on the order, I understand there may be just a couple things we need to cover. So let's see, Ms. Garcia, if you'll unmute for me, raise your right hand. You solemnly swear to tell us the truth today.
Yes, I do.
Okay. All right. If you want to give us a quick update and then we'll address what issues we had.
Okay. So Michaela, she's been doing a lot better than she initially was. She still has they're still working with regulating her emotions. But other than that, she's kind of struggling a little bit at school. She did not pass about 2 of her classes. She is receiving tutoring for that. And I mean, she's overall, they feel like she does good at placement. She's respectful to staff. I think sometimes she just kind of has her moments where she gets into it with some of the peers there, but that's what they're working with her on. It's just her doing better with others.
This is one of the most misunderstood moments in dependency court, and the judge actually explains it beautifully. When the court finds a continuing danger, it is not a moral judgment, it's a legal threshold. The judge makes it clear, Mom is doing well, effort is recognized, progress is acknowledged. But legally, the court must see sustained stability over time before returning older children who've experienced repeated trauma. This distinction matters. Courts don't gamble with children's safety based on short-term success. They require consistency, especially when the children have spent more time in care than at home. So while this ruling may feel discouraging, it's actually protective. It keeps services in place, oversight active, and pressure off the children to transition before they're ready. The real takeaway? Doing well today is good. Doing well long-term is what changes outcomes.
Okay. But the focus seems to be more now with peer group than with staff.
Yes.
Okay, I suppose that's some improvement. Is it kind of typical stuff, or are we still seeing things that are at a little higher level than typical?
No, they're typical stuff. Her service level did drop. So she's improving slowly, but it is just, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that she reacts a lot faster than sometimes she kind of thinks. And so, I mean, it's nothing that she's gotten in too much trouble for. I mean, they've redirected her, and she's been able to be redirected, and she hasn't harmed anybody. She stated that she was play fighting with a peer and that they took it as she was being aggressive, but those were not her intentions.
Okay. So level of care, dropped, I mean, not to the point where they're talking about discharge?
Correct. Yeah.
All right. Where do we stand on the long-term goal here?
That's kind of hard to say, just because I know that the Elleries right now are not ready for her to come back home yet. And she also doesn't want anything to do with them. I've talked to her about, possibly doing family therapy. And she just said, I honestly just don't want anything to do with them. She's like, I just want my social security and my original birth certificate before the adoption. And that's all I want.
And Your Honor, just to chime in, when I was talking with her, she indicated to me that she's very happy in placement and that she would love to just age out there. Now, we've got a long way to go for that, and my hope is that she would become more comfortable in a less restrictive placement and we could find some better options for her. We've still got several years. But right now, she's saying, I love where I am. I don't want to go anywhere.
Okay. Well, maybe as things continue to improve, that desire to be there will change. It sounds like it's just sort of a safe space right now.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, Ms. Zavala, anything else or any questions?
Yeah, just a few. Basically, what she really wants is to be able to get a job. So she needs her social security card. She needs her birth certificate, and we had a whole discussion, and Sylvia referenced it. She really wants her old original birth certificate. I explained to her for her ID purposes, she needs her current one. She needs the social security and the birth certificate. I explained to her that the original birth certificate isn't probably no longer available. She was asking if maybe the Elleries had a copy or a picture. She just wants it more for terms of her having it. I think she now understands that's not the one she needs legally for the job. So that's really her big concern is the Social Security and the birth certificate. She did mention that in the future she would like to change her name. We didn't. I also explained, to get her state ID, we need to do all of that first, and then we can look at some options potentially in the future, but we need to focus on getting her legal documents right now. She is good with no contact with her parents right now, and she understands that no contact with her sister is probably the best thing for her right now too. And maybe the friction with peers may go down a little bit. She currently has her own room. Her roommate was discharged, so that may be a source of stress that's no longer there. But that's all that I had.
Okay.
Michaela's case shifts the tone, but not the stakes. This is a teenager who doesn't want reunification, doesn't want adoption, and doesn't want to move. What she wants is control over her identity, her documents, her future. Her request for a social security card, birth certificate, and a job might sound simple, but in foster care, those documents represent independence. And when a youth says they want to age out, the court has to walk a fine line. Respect and autonomy while still pursuing permanency. What stands out here is that everyone, the judge, CASA, attorneys, agrees on one thing. Preparing her for adulthood is critical. Whether that leads to adoption, extended care, or independence, these steps matter. So here's the question. Should courts push permanency when a teen resists it, or focus on equipping them to succeed no matter what they choose?
All right, CASA.
Thank you, Your Honor. Well, I'm going to echo exactly what Attorney Adlatum and Miss Garcia said about her progress, that she is making some progress in her placement, and she's trying harder. She seems happier, but she's pretty determined and said, I don't want to leave here. I like it here. And I said, I'm congratulated her, but at the same time, I also am looking at her permanency. And we all know that yeah, she's only 15, and I explained the same thing to her about just staying in a placement is not, we're trying to move her forward to more of a permanency plan for her. Also, and she wants her social security card, she wants her birth certificate, but I kind of quizzed her about PAL, so I don't know if Sylvia can maybe shed some light on that because of her age. I don't know if she's started PAL where she's at, so that's kind of what we're focusing on with her at this point because she seems to be really open to learning some new skills.
She told me that she was told it can't start there until she's 16. So I don't know if that's a regional thing.
Okay.
I guess I was thinking it was 16 across the board, but maybe not.
I don't know. I just thought maybe, I don't know if she's got a workbook or anything that they're doing. Sylvia probably knows more about that than I do, of course. So I'm just putting that out there for her and letting her know that her team is behind her and we're encouraging her. And if she does have any kind of conflict, and it doesn't matter, I told her, I don't care what time it is. I told the placement, I said, put her on the phone with me. I'll talk it out with her. At least it'll calm her down for a little bit. So I haven't yet heard from her, and I haven't heard of any incident reports lately, so I think she's doing a lot better.
I think they refer to PALs when they're 15 and a half.
Okay.
That's what it sticks in my brain for some reason.
Yeah, and I mean, she just turned 15, in fact. So she's gonna be limited to probably about jobs due to age.
She apparently there are several fast food places right around there and a grocery store that's
Okay.
just right around the corner. And she believes that the grocery store hires at 15.
Okay. Yeah, they might. All right. Well, do we have any barrier getting her social security card and birth certificate so that she can get ID and we can get her set up? I mean, I quite frankly think a job is a good thing for her. She could start really learning some good life skills. I mean, in the event she isn't open to adoption and she isn't open to anything in the next 3 years, the sooner we start working at independent living, the better. Nothing, and if we do get her to the point where she's willing to look at adoption, so she's got some kind of permanent support system, which is what we all know we would like to see happen for her. Nothing about having some job skills, is going to hurt her. So we got any barriers to getting that to her?
Today's hearing shows the reality of child welfare court. Progress is celebrated, but safety sets the pace. Giselle's reunification shows what's possible when stability is demonstrated. The older children's cases remind us that history can't be erased overnight. And Michaela's case highlights a system trying to balance permanency with independence for a young person nearing adulthood. The judge's rulings keep all children protected, services active, and timelines clear, with final hearings already set. This isn't about punishment. It's about ensuring that when families reunify, they stay together safely.
No, there's not. I just need to ask the Elleries for the originals.
Yeah, and she needs to understand how important it is that she takes good care of those and keeps them in a safe place, and maybe placement even has some arrangement for the kids that are there, that they'll hang on to those things for them. I worry about 15-year-olds, keeping up with their phones and their jackets, at times. So let's at least have a discussion with the Elleries, but and because I would like for her to, I'd like to see her get a job. I think it's a good thing. You know, other than she needs to keep up in school.
And I do think she's making progress in that. I think she let herself get way behind in their two electives, and she's like, they're just electives. But I said, you need the credits, and she seems to get it, and she seems to be working on it.
Okay, good. All right, then. Anybody have anything further?
No, Judge.
Okay, then I'm gonna continue the department as